Good morning to all of you. Till so far we have been studying the various properties of DFTs like linearity, circular time shift, circular frequency shift, and then we studied the conjugate symmetry property, and then we studied Parseval's theorem. And in the today's video lecture I will be discussing with you about one more important property of DFT, which is circular convolution in time. So we have both circular convolution in time as well as a frequency. So in the today's video lecture we will discuss about the circular convolution in time. So the statement of the circular convolution in time is, if I consider two time domain signals which are namely x of n and h of n. So I am considering the two signals, time domain signals, x of n and h of n, and I have to perform the circular convolution over these two time domain sequences, or you can say the signals. What are those signals? Let x of n and h of n be the two sequences, and one thing you have to remember here is, for the circular convolution the length of the sequences should be same. For both x of n as well as h of n, the length should be same. Even if length are not same, you have to make their length equal by appending the zeros, right? So this point you have to remember. So let x of n and h of n be the two sequences having length capital N. Then the circular convolution of these two sequences is given by y of n, which is given by x of n, and here I have one more sequence h of n, and circular convolution is symbolically represented by a circle, a star which is enclosed by a circle, and here I will write capital N, and this capital N stands for what? It is a n point circular convolution between the two time domain sequences x of n and h of n, and using the summation it is given by the formula summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and here I will write x of n minus m into h of m. Means here I have x of n minus m sequence, and here I have h of m. Means the which sequence I have to shift circularly? The first sequence x of n I have to shift circularly, and each element of circularly shifted sequence has to be multiplied with the corresponding sample values of h of n, and each multiplied value you have to get summed, so that you will get the circularly convolved sequence y of n. And the same equation can be written as, you can keep x of n as it is, and you can shift circularly, you can shift h of m also. So how? M is equal to 0 to again n minus 1. So I will keep the first sequence as it is, that is I will write x of m, and I will do the shifting operation on the second sequence, that is h of n minus m till n is equal to 0 to 3, that is capital N is what? This one. So this is the formula we are going to use to compute n point circular convolution over any two sequences such as x of n and h of n, right? So now let us prove this one. How y of n is equal to summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n minus m into h of m. And to prove this property, we must know whenever there is a circular convolution between the two time domain sequence, it is equivalent to the multiplication of the same two sequences in frequency domain. Frequency domain means in DFT form, right? So if I say x of n, its DFT is x of k, and the DFT of h of n is h of k. The convolution of these two sequences in time, that is x of n circular convolution with h of n, is equivalent to multiplication of the DFTs of these two sequences. What is the DFT of x of n? Which is x of k, into the DFT of h of n is what? H of k, and the product of these two DFT sequences is given by what? Y of k, and this y of k is what? It is the DFT of the circularly convolved time domain signal y of n. Therefore, I will start with the DFT of the circularly convolved sequence y of n. So this y of k is DFT of y of n. Y of k is the DFT of y of n, and this y of n is the convolved sequence of x of n and h of n, which is given by what? This summation equation. Therefore, y of k is equal to DFT of y of n. Our job is to prove y of n is equal to this summation, right? So if y of k is equal to DFT of y of n, so that I can write y of n is equal to IDFT of, it is inverse DFT of y of k, right? And we know that IDFT of this y of k is nothing but in frequency DFT form. It is a simple multiplication of the DFTs of these two sequences x of n as well as h of n. So y of k is equal to, which is x of k multiplied by h of k, right? So there is a simple method known as what? The Stockham's method. So according to the Stockham's method, to find the circular convolution, the DFT of x of n you calculate. We first obtain the DFT of x of n, that gives x of k. In a similar way, I will compute the DFT of h of n. I will get x of k. Then I will multiply these two DFT sequence x of k and h of k using a multiplier. So I will get x of k multiplied by h of k, and this product I will name it by what? Another sequence by y of k, and this y of k is a DFT sequence. Now how to get the convolved sequence in time domain y of n from this y of k, right? So if you take the IDFT of y of k, we will get y of n, and this y of n is the circular convolution between n-point circular convolution between x of n and h of n, and this method is known as Stockham's method. So there are three methods. We have got three methods to compute the circular convolution in time. Either you can use the time domain method, which is this one, and another one is a frequency domain method, that is whenever the two sequences are given x of n and h of n, first you have to find their DFTs like x of k and h of k, then multiply, you will get y of k, then you take the inverse DFT, you will get y of n, right? So all operations we are performing in frequency domain, right? So this method is called as frequency method to compute circular convolution, that is Stochamp's method. And this summation formula what we have is the time domain method to compute the circular convolution of any two sequences. And another method we have is using the graphical method, where we are using the concentric circles, right, keeping one concentric circle as it is, and in the second concentric circle what we do is we will circularly shift the values over the concentric circle, and again we multiply the one to one element by element multiplication we have to do to get the circular convolution output. So basically there are three methods. One is time domain method, second one is frequency domain method, that is also known as Stochamp's method, and the third one is what? The concentric circle method, right? So now let us use this Stochamp's method to prove this circular convolution in time. Right, so I hope you understood what is that Stochamp's method for computing a circular convolution, right? So here I will write my y of n is equal to IDFT of y of k, and this y of k is nothing but the simple multiplication of the DFTs of two sequence x of n and h of n. They are x of k into h of k, right? So we know the formula, IDFT formula, right? So IDFT for any sequence x, if I say IDFT of x of n is what? X of k is x of n, it is 1 over n summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 DFT sequence x of k, and here it is wn raised to minus kn, right? So similarly here, in place of x of k, what we have is we have the product of the two DFT sequence, right? So then what is the IDFT of this one? Again it is 1 divided by n summation, here it is k is equal to 0 to n minus 1, in place of x of k we have the product of two DFT sequence, I will write, right? So that is x of k into h of k, right, which is multiplied by what? That is the complex sequence, right, wn raised to minus k. So that I will write here wn minus kn, right? Next, 1 by n I will keep as it is, summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and what is this x of k, right? This x of k is the DFT of sequence x of n, right? And what is this h of k? It is a DFT of the sequence h of n, and using the DFT equation you write x of k, define x of k and h of k separately. So what is x of k? So I will write summation, just to differentiate, just to avoid the confusion, I will take use different index. So here I will take I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and here x of I wn, here it is k into n is there, or nk is there. In place of n, index I have taken is I, so I will write I into k. So this is the DFT of x of k. Similarly I will write DFT h of k as summation and here I will take one more index, that is m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and here it is h of m. In place of n I have taken m, so this becomes m into k, which is multiplied by what? This factor, that is wn minus k, right? After that we'll simplify this one, right? So I will write 1 by n, right? And I will take this h of m, this term first, summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, just rearranging the terms, that's all. H of m, then this I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, then x of I will write, then summation, this k I will take inside, k is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Next I will combine all these, the Twiddle factors, right? Function. So this w raised to ik, wmk and wkn. So by combining all the powers of w term, so what I will get is, I will get, so I plus m minus n multiplied by k, right? Next, this 1 by n, summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, h of m. Next, summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, x of I. If we evaluate this term, there is a one property of Twiddle factor. If you evaluate this one, you will get n times the value of this summation, you will get n times delta of I minus n minus m, I minus n minus m. If you simplify, you will get this term only, I plus m minus n, right, multiplied by n, right? And this n and this n will get cancelled. Summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, h of m, and here summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and here it is x of I, delta of I minus n minus m, right? And we know that whenever there is summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, if I write here x of I or x of I multiplied by the impulse function at n is equal to I is equal to 0. So whenever you multiply the impulse function at origin n is equal to 0, which is multiplied by any sequence, you will get what? The same delta function, that is, the same sequence x of I, right? And using this property, so here it is summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, h of m, and here it is x of I is there, delta of I of n minus m is there, right? So this I will write x of I. This is possible only when this delta of 0, this becomes 0. When this becomes 0, when I is equal to n minus m. When you substitute I is equal to n minus m, so this n minus m and this n minus m will get cancelled, you will get delta of 0, and whenever you multiply delta of 0 with x of I, you will get x of I, right? So this will, you will get x of I when I is equal to n minus m. Therefore summation I is equal m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and here it is h of m, and here I have to replace it by what? N minus m. So x of n minus m of n, right? So this is the y of n. So here I will write y of n is LHS, and RHS is what? Summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1, h of m, x of n minus m. Yeah. So this is the proof we obtained. Similarly, we can write it for what? y of n is equal to summation m is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of m h of n